Today I'm sharing one of my all-time favorite autumn recipes, apple crumble cake. I've been making this for years, I just love it, and what makes it so special is the contrast between the crunchy crumble on top and the moist cake thanks to the apple juice. It's simply delicious. Let's get started. Let's start by washing, peeling, and cutting the apples into 16 equal parts. And preheat your oven to 170 degrees Celsius. Sift together the granulated sugar, brown sugar, and cinnamon. By combining the light sweetness of granulated sugar with the deep caramel notes of brown sugar, I've blended two types of sugar to perfectly enhance the flavor of the apples. This balance adds just the right amount of sweetness to the cake batter without overpowering the natural tartness of the fruit. Toast 1/3 of the sugar-cinnamon mixture with the apples to coat them evenly. Beat the eggs until the white and egg yolk well combined for the cake. Next, cream unsalted butter with the remaining sugar using a whisk or hand mixer until smooth. Add the eggs in several stages and mix until the butter is light and fluffy. Combine the flour and baking powder. Add 1/3 of the flour mixture to the butter mixture and gently mix with the whisk. Using a whisk instead of the rubber spatula helps you mix the butter more gently, reducing the need for the frequent stirring. This technique ensures the cake batter remains light and prevents it from becoming too sticky, and allowing the flour to blend smoothly without overworking the mixture. Add half of the warm milk and cream mixture, alternating with the remaining flour mixture. Add the vanilla and mix until fully combined. Finally, use a rubber spatula to ensure no pockets of flour are left in the mixture. Now, pour butter into the 21 cm round spring mold lined with a parchment paper. Line the apples nicely like this. Making a crumble is super easy. Take some softened butter and rub it together with equal parts of brown sugar, almond flour, and all-purpose flour using your fingertips until it forms a pea-sized pieces. Sprinkle this mixture over the apples and it's ready to go into the oven. Pop in the preheated oven. and bake the cake for the 40 to 50 minutes. You know it's done when the top is golden brown and bamboo skewer inserted into the center comes out clean. Look at that gorgeous apple cake. The sweet and sour apples combined with the cinnamon aroma are just irresistible. It's moist, flavorful, and perfect for any occasion. I hope you will give this recipe a try and let me know how you like it. And if you like this recipe, please leave the comment. Hi friends! Today I'm going to be making the caramel apple upside down cake. It's my version of upside down cake, lighter in texture and low in calories and not too sweet. I don't know about you, but I want something sweet at the end of the dinner, no matter how I am filled with other delicious food. It's a seasonal cake and it's a good idea to bake around the holiday seasons instead of the pies, which is a little bit too heavy for me. On this channel, I will introduce some of my favorite holiday recipes until the end of the December. Let's get started. First, let's prepare the apples. This apple is called Kogyoku apple, a tart apple in Japan, and you can use any tart apple you can find. Sometimes I find Granny Smith apple in the Japanese market, but it's rare. Kogyoku or Fuji is my go-to. Use organic apples if you can find them. Today I have 170 to 180 gram per piece, and when you remove the core and peel, it's going to be 150 to 160 gram per piece. Cut into 4 and remove the core and peel. If you are using the organic apples, save the core and skin for the later use. We are making the apple tea from it. Place prepared apples in the heavy bottom pot. Add 10% of sugar to the weight of the apples and water halfway up to the apples. Cook on medium heat and bring it to a boil. Cover with a piece of parchment paper and the lid. Simmer for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, your apples look like this. Translucent and softened. Leave 10 to 15 minutes or until it's not too hot to touch. Carefully remove the apples from the pot to a bamboo mesh tray or a tray. Keep the syrup for another usage like sweetening the tea or cook another apples. While cooking the apples, let's prepare the mold. Grease the inside of the mold with the oil spray or unsalted butter. Line the bottom with a parchment paper. Set aside. Next, we are going to make caramel, and soon after it's done, while the caramel is still hot, we will pour it into the prepared mold. So set the mold beside you. Put the sugar in a heavy bottom pot and add a little bit of water to moisten the sugar. Turn the heat to medium and cook until the sugar dissolves. Do not touch your spatula, either wooden or heat-proof. Swirl the pot to even out the temperature to cook evenly. It starts caramelizing, and this is a hazelnut color, but we will go a little bit further. Okay, this looks good. The amber color is what we want to achieve at this step. Pour in 1 tablespoon of water to thin it out a little bit. Be careful when you add the water to the caramel will splash and it's really hot. Keep away from the pot as much as you can to avoid burning yourself. Turn the heat off and as soon as it makes an even consistency, pour into the prepared mold while still hot. The caramel will set so quickly so that you should work on it really quickly. Line cooked apple over the caramel like this. Place no gaps in between so that your cake looks nice. The apples absorb the caramel while cooking and it makes a nice topping. So, why we cook the caramel and apples separately? Maybe you would know when you take a bite. The apples taste very strong when you cook in the caramel, but in this way of cooking, the caramel is not too strong. The caramel flavor and apples complement each other so well. Set aside until the cake batter is prepared. Before start making the cake batter, preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius. Crack one egg into your bowl and whisk until the yolk and egg white combine. This is basically a ratio for the pound cake. Same part for each ingredient, but the procedure is like we are making the sponge cake. You will have a light texture but still moist, just like a pound cake. Add sugar to the egg and mix to combine. Switch to an electric hand mixer and whisk until double in bulk on high speed. Lower the speed to make even bubbles in the egg mixture. This is called ribbon stage or ruban. It's going to take 4 to 5 minutes until you get the thick egg mixture. Sift together the cake flour and baking powder in the egg mixture bowl. Fold the cake flour until no flour to be seen. Scoop up and down and do not varnish the air bubbles. When all the flour is not visible, continue mixing with a cutting motion. If you don't mix well, the texture will not be smooth. Add the melted butter at warm temperature and fold until the butter is well combined. Add vanilla if you want. When you finish mixing, your butter looks like this. It's really shiny and has a good seam on the surface, but still holding the fluffiness. Pour the cake batter over the cooked apple and put it in the oven for 30 minutes. Lower the heat to 160 degrees Celsius and cook another 20 minutes. While we are baking the cake, let's make the natural apple tea. Add water to cover the skin and core and cook on medium heat and bring it to a boil. Simmer for 10 to 15 minutes or until the water turns wet like this. Strain into the jug and you can enjoy it hot or cold. The natural apple tea contains soluble fiber and pectin from the seed. I love the color and the flavor and the taste. Okay, let's go back to the cake. When you press the center and it bounces back, it's already cooked. If you are not sure if it's done or not, you can stick the skewer and it comes out clean. It's perfectly cooked. Leave it on a wire rack for 10 minutes. Insert the tip of the knife around the edges and place the plate on top of the cake. Flip it over and shake a little bit to make sure the cake is separated from the mold. Then unmold the cake. The moment of truth. It looks perfect. It's my version of caramel apple upside down cake. It's still hot, so leave it until it comes to room temperature. Cut into desired size and enjoy. Serve with natural apple tea. It's perfect in the balance. It will last 4 or 5 days in the fridge, so you can make ahead before the parties. You can bring it to your friend's house and you will be proud of yourself. Give it a try and let me know how you like it. Hi friends! Welcome to Kitchen Princess Bamboo Japanese Everyday Food. Today I'm going to be making Japanese apple pie. 2 years ago, I made apple pie with caramel apple. Today's version is more popular style in Japan, loved by all generations. It's my all-time favorite. It has a kind of nostalgic flavor. The pie is flaky and light, and it goes so well with tangy apple filling. It's a perfect match for your cravings for the taste of fall. Let's get started. First, let's make pie express. This pie dough is basically a pâte brisée, the flaky pastry in other words. I fold it into 4 to make it light and airy. You can get a similar effect like folded pie in much shorter time. It's a quick and easy way to make perfect pie crust which rises in the oven. The pie crust looks dry, but when you squeeze it and if it forms a dough, it's good. Transfer to a plastic bag and press down to put together from the outside of the bag. In this way, you avoid developing the gluten to make the pie firm. Chill in the freezer for 20 minutes or until firm to touch. Cut open the bag. Take out onto the dusted working surface. Roll out to 40 to 20 cm and fold in 4. Chill in the fridge until used. Next, let's make apple pie filling. Cut apple in quarter and core and peel. Slice horizontally and put in a pot. Add in lemon juice to prevent turning brown. Add in 20% of sugar for the weight of the apple. Turn the heat to medium and cook with the lid. After 5 minutes, toss to cook evenly. The moisture draws out from the apple and cook until almost all of the moisture is evaporated. It took me 10 minutes. Turn the heat off and add in rum raisin. Or you can add cinnamon and vanilla instead. Set aside until used. Next, let's make genoise. This apple pie's signature light texture is from the genoise. It will absorb the moisture from the apple and prevent the raw and uncooked bottom. Crack your egg in stand mixer bowl, or use hand mixer to beat the egg. Heat the oven for 180 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, grease the cake mold and line the paper inside. Whip until you can draw a line, and you can see the line for more than 5 seconds. Sift in the cake flour and fold in. Keep in mind not to overmix. When all the flour folds in, add a scoop of mixture to the vegetable oil. Vegetable oil makes light and fluffy genoise. Mix until homogenized and put it back in the bowl. Fold in until evenly mixed. Pour in the prepared cake mold. Look at that shiny and smooth cake batter. It looks deflated, but it's totally fine. If your cake batter is still fluffy at this stage, the cake will be expanded in your oven but shrink immediately when you take out from the oven. Take out the pie crust from the fridge and roll it out 3 mm in thickness. Dust with flour as much as you need and flip it over several times to make it even. Cut off the both sides of the crust for the bottom layer. What I need is nice and even strips to make lattice on top. Roll out the pie crust 30 by 40 cm rectangle 2 mm in thickness. Use your ruler and pie cutter to cut out the strips. If you don't have a ruler, use a rolling pin instead. You will need 10 strips to make lattice top. Place 5 strips on a thin cutting board or something like that to slide easily on top of the pie. Make a lattice on the board. Check the size occasionally with the pie plate you are using. The space between the strips should not be so wide because the pie crust will shrink while baking. Use 21 cm circle to cut out the necessary part. Now let's roll out the bottom crust. Put the leftover crust from the lattice and roll out until it covers the pie dish. Place it on the pie dish and press gently to fit the crust to the dish. Cut off the pie crust but leave 2 cm excess to overlap the top crust. Prick all over the surface to cook evenly. Chill in the fridge for a while to prevent shrinking in the oven. I have a little bit of the leftover crust. Let's keep it for the decoration. We will need 2 slices of genoise 1 cm in thickness. I use a ruler but you can slice like this.
Mix a half of egg yolk and 1 teaspoon of whole milk for the egg wash. Preheat the oven before assemble. Now let's assemble. Take out the pie shell from the fridge and place the genoise on the bottom. It's a little bit big in diameter, so I cut a part of it to fit in. Put your apple pie filling on top and even the surface. Place one more genoise on the apple pie filling. Put your lattice on top and brush the egg wash all over the edges. Put together the bottom crust and top. Secure with the fork and brush the egg wash all around the edges. Garnish with the leftover crust if you like. Brush egg wash on the surface and pop in the oven for 35 to 40 minutes or until golden brown. Smells so fall in my kitchen. Leave it 10 to 15 minutes before take out from the dish. Let me taste. I like to have the big slice. I enjoy the apple tea full of flavor of apple with the apple pie. It's so apple today. I hope you will give this recipe a try and enjoy with your friends and families.
Hi friends! Today I'm going to be making sweet potato apple pie. Last week I made caramel apple upside down cake and I have 3 more apples to make another delicious treat for the season. This is not maybe famous in other countries, but in Japan it's very popular. You can find it at train station at an affordable price. It is delicious and it's my all-time favorite. I have cut down the sugar as much as I can and it's the best pie for the Thanksgiving party. Let's get started. Let's start with preparing the apple filling. Core and peel the apples. Cut into 1/4-inch slices. Weigh the amount and add 10% of the sugar. Toast to coat so that the moisture comes out from the apple and you can cook the apple with that moisture. We don't want to add any liquid to cook the apple so that your pie will not soggy. Leave it for about 10 minutes until the moisture comes out from the apples. Cover and cook over medium heat. Bring it to a boil and reduce the heat to low. Cook 5 minutes until the apples look transparent and soft. Do not overcook, otherwise your apples lose their shape and end up in applesauce. Set aside until used. Now we are preparing the sweet potato. Wash well and scrub the sweet potato. I have a sponge for peeling the root vegetables. This is an excellent sponge that you can peel it while washing. Not only for sweet potato, but we use many root vegetables, especially in the winter, so it is very helpful to prepare the root vegetables. You can always peel by using a peeler if you don't have it. Soak in water to prevent changing the color. Cut into bite-sized pieces and soak in water again to remove any excess starch.
Press them in a single layer in the steamer, or you can do it in the microwave and cook until soft. When you steam it, it's going to take about 15 minutes. When you do it in a microwave, it's going to take 5 minutes on 600 watt. Weigh and add 10% of the sugar, a pinch of salt, 10 grams of the unsalted butter. Mash it well to make a paste. The consistency depends on your preference. If you think this is a little bit too dense, you can add milk or heavy cream to adjust the consistency. But we cook with apple filling, which is supposed to have more moisture than the sweet potato, so I've leave any liquid out from my sweet potato for now. Okay, the filling is ready. Today I'm going to use store-bought puff pastry, but you can always use your homemade puff pastry. I have a good recipe for you, so go and check that out. Just process in a food processor, fold 2 times, and you are ready to go. Let's assemble. We are using a 20 cm pie plate. It is worn out, but it is good to use. You can remove the pie very easily. The frozen puff pastry should be on the counter for at least 30 minutes or until it's flexible, but not too long. Still cold and has its resistance a little bit to it. Take out the frozen puff pastry from the package. We use 2 puff pastries for the 20 cm pie plate. Roll out the pastry to fit the bottom of the plate. It looks a little bit smaller for the mold, but it is just fine. The thickness should be 3 mm. If you roll it out too large, it cannot hold the filling and it's going to collapse. The other one should roll out to a 30 by 25 cm rectangle. Cut into 10 strips by using a ruler and a pizza cutter. Maybe you have already seen my apple pie video. I always prepare the top crust beforehand to assemble the pie. Place the strip on top of each other at a 45 degrees angle to make a lovely lattice. You don't want to do it on top of the pie. If you do it on the filling, it's not easy to do. You can do it more manageable and it looks better pie like this. Poke the bottom pastry to give it a nice hole and let the steam go while baking so that your pie bakes up crispy. Crumble the leftover sponge cake or castilla cake over the surface. Or if you don't have it, panko breadcrumb works well. Transfer the sweet potato and flatten the surface. And then transfer the apple pie filling over it. If your apple pie filling has excess moisture, the sweet potato soaks up the moisture, so you don't have to worry about that. Use your leftover pie crust to fill the gap around the edges. Slide the lattice on top and place it in a nice position. Press to seal with the fork all around the edges. And cut off the excess pastries with your scraper or knife. Keep your leftovers for another usage. Brush egg white or egg wash all over the surface. Let it chill in the fridge or freezer while preheating the oven. Preheat the oven for 190 degrees Celsius. Bake it for 30 to 40 minutes or until it gets golden brown like this. Look at that beautiful golden brown. This is the moment that I love. Smells heavenly in my kitchen. Leave it on the wire rack for about 15 to 20 minutes until it's not too hot to touch and slide off onto the wire rack to release the steam. It's not a good idea to take it off soon after baking. There will be a chance to collapse so wait for 15-20 minutes before you take it out from the mold. If it's not easy to slide out, use a palette knife to help releasing from the bottom. For the finishing touch, brush apricot jam all over the surface. Apple pie and apricot jam should be warm at this point. It's easy to brush if it is warm, and you will get a nice glossy look for the pie. Line aluminum foil or something to catch the dripping apricot jam under the pie. You can skip it, but the apricot jam creates this pie's signature look. And the jam adds the other flavor profile for the pie, making this pie so special. I like having it at room temperature the day it baked, and it's also good chilled in the fridge. You can keep it in the fridge for a couple of days, and you can freeze it for a couple of months. Apple and sweet potato go so well together. The sweetness from the sweet potato and the mild sourness of the apple pie filling just tastes like autumn. It can't go wrong when you put two good things together. You will love it too. Give it a try and let me know how you like it. Thank you for watching the video. Give me a big thumbs up and share the video with your friends and families. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Follow me on the social media and tag me on your post if you give it a try. And go to my website for the printable recipe and more information. And my store on Amazon has pretty much everything that I'm using in my video. Stay safe and stay healthy, and I will see you soon. Bye!
Thank you for watching the video. Give me a big thumbs up and share the video with your friends and families, and consider subscribing if you don't want to miss any of my new videos. And follow me on the social media and tag me on your post if you give it a try. And join my happy eating group to share your food with me. And my store on Amazon has pretty much everything that I'm using in my video. And for more information, visit my website princessbamboo.com. Thanks again, and I will see you soon. Bye!